All right, hello everybody. Today's lesson is going to be about mitosis and meiosis. You probably have learned about this last year in biology, but what we're really talking about is how cells make a copy of themselves. And it turns out there's a couple of different ways that happens. We're going to start with mitosis. All right, mitosis is the most common type of cell division. And it's when your body cells make a copy. So body cells making copies. All right, and when I'm talking about body cells, what I'm really talking about is everything except for reproductive cells. So body cells, not reproductive cells, making copies. So body cells, some examples would be hair cells, skin cells, stomach cells, brain cells. Everything except for a sperm or egg would do mitosis. All right, so we're talking about body cells. When your body cells are doing mitosis, they're going from one cell to two cells. All right, so they're just making one copy. They're doubling. And the cells at the end are an exact copy as the starting cell. So think about your hair and your skin cells. Your hair and your skin cells are copying all the time, really, really fast. But my skin cells are going to make exact copies. So it's going to continue to look pretty similar over time. All right, when we're talking about exact copies, we're going to say that this includes the same amount of DNA as you started. And in this case, you might see DNA written as chromosomes. All right, and that kind of makes sense. It wouldn't be an exact copy if you didn't have the same amount of something. And we're not going to worry too much about DNA and chromosomes today, but that is going to be a common theme that we see in next week's lessons. All right. The way that I remember mitosis, because these words do sound really similar, if you say mitosis really slow, you're going to hear my toes, right? My toes in mitosis. And I think about my toes are body cells that would be doing this process. So that's how I remember. When we're talking about meiosis, it's going to be pretty much the opposite of everything that we wrote about for mitosis. So instead of body cells, we're talking about reproductive cells. And in this case, we would think sperm or egg cells. This even, just because it bothers me. All right, so mitosis, body cells, meiosis, only sperm and egg cells. That's the only thing that we're talking about. In meiosis, we're starting with one cell, but instead of doubling, we're actually going to be quadrupling. So instead of ending with two cells, we're going to end with four cells. If you think about people reproducing and having children, other than the special cases of identical twins, which we can talk about next week, you would think that the majority of reproductive cells are going to be different from each other. Right? That's how one person can have multiple children and have all of them be different from each other, right? So the ending cells are different from the starting cells and each other. So all of the cells that are made from meiosis are going to be unique. The last thing that gets tricky, the end cells are going to have half the DNA from the starting cell. And we'll worry about that more next week. But if you think about a child, right, that's made from one sperm cell and one egg cell, right, you're a combination of your mom and your dad. So you would get half of the DNA from your mom, right, and half of the DNA from your dad. So that's why it's really important that these egg and sperm cells have half the amount of DNA, because the other half is eventually going to come from the other parent, right? If it had the full amount of DNA, you as a child would end up with too much and would have a lot of problems because of that. All right. But these notes are really going to help you guys today. All right. And hopefully you guys have copied them onto your note sheet. If not, take a minute to do that. You're more than welcome to do that in your own words. I just really want to quickly show you guys the rest of what you're doing today and show you some examples. All right. So for this first example, I hope my pictures are readable to you guys because I did them on my own. But if we look at this first picture, right, some important things to notice are it's one cell at the top, and at the bottom it's becoming two cells, right? They look pretty much the same as the starting, other than Miss Scripa's drawing skills, right? And I kind of give you guys the hint on the side here that these are skin cells. So if we go back to our notes, right, if we're going to look at mitosis or meiosis, thinking about skin cells, I would say that that's not a sperm or an egg, right? That would be a body cell. And we saw our picture went from 1 to 2 at the end, right? And they were close to an exact copy, right, within reason. So I would think that that picture is an example of mitosis. So for this first column where it's asking, is it mitosis or meiosis? We're going to write that that is mitosis. And when it asks how you know, I do want this to be pretty clear in your own words. What were the clues in the picture that gave it away? So we had a couple of clues, right? The first clue was that the picture indicates that it's showing skin cells, which are body cells, right? The picture showed one cell becoming two, right? Which also happens in mitosis, right? But like, what were the things that you saw in the picture that gave it away? All right. You guys are going to do the other 5 on your own. All right. If you guys have questions, let me know. And then the last thing you guys are going to do, I know there's a lot of videos in today's lesson. Both of these are really short. The first one is less than 2 minutes. The second one is less than 5. So they're both really short videos. But you're going to be learning about cancer, what actually is cancer, what's happening in your body, and also how do we treat cancer and why do we use those particular treatments? Why not do something else? All right, so that's your goal for today. Please send me an email when you're done. All right, and again, I'm going to have my normal office hours and email open throughout the day today. All right, but otherwise have a good one and have a good rest of your weekend as well.